All right, moving on. Secret number 3. Connect with your yearnings. What threads your life story? I grew up in the town of Cut and Shoot, Texas. No kidding. And I know the sign implies that that's pronounced cut and shoot, but it's not. It's Cut and Shoot. This is a very small Texas town nestled in the piney woods in about 40 miles north of Houston. My parents moved my 2 brothers and I there from Houston when I was about 6 years old. Now, this was out in the middle of nowhere. The roads were not paved. You couldn't see any neighbors for quite a ways around, and there were no telephone lines. And even as a 6-year-old girl, you think that you need to be connected to the world with a telephone. But no. So even as a 6-year-old, I didn't know what the genesis of the name of Cut and Shoot was, but I thought it was a great cosmic joke that was being played on me to be taken out and banished to Cut and Shoot, Texas. So that event had forced me to find some way to connect with the world. And luckily, I was old enough to go to school, and my mother, bless her heart, took my brothers and I to the public library on a regular occasion, so I found my escape in books. I started with Mark Twain, and I don't know if I read Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer or what adventure I read of his at first, but I absolutely loved Mark Twain and the adventures that he wrote about, and I decided that I was going to read every book and every essay and every short story that was in my school library and the public library that was written by Mark Twain because I loved him so much. And when I finished, I wanted more. So I had to find another author of American literature, and I went from Mark Twain to Ernest Hemingway. Now, I don't know how a 7-year-old girl gets through the gritty angst of Hemingway. I'm sure that much of it was lost on me, but the writing was amazing, and the adventures that I went on around the country and in Spain, and just the style, and I was learning human nature. I was learning about the triumphs and struggles of humans by reading this literature. I read everything there was in the system by Hemingway, and then I went to Fitzgerald, and then I went to John Steinbeck. The reason I tell you this is because maybe I would or maybe I would not have read literature that much starting as a 6-year-old, but definitely this life event had caused me to do something to try to reconnect with people and with the world. Cheryl Backhelder is the president of Popeye's Louisiana Chicken, and I borrowed this slide from her because she feels very strongly also in having a purpose, and she actually has all of her managers create their own purpose plans in their organization. So this is a great slide. It's a wonderful graphic to kind of show you how your life is shaped by these kind of events that I just described as I did when I was a 6-year-old child. So my parents, you might imagine, were very down-to-earth people. By moving my brothers and poor me to Cut and Shoot, Texas, they taught us to say yes, sir, and no, ma'am, and they taught us to appreciate how food is grown and how it gets to the table, and especially they taught us the value of $1. Now, we could do chores, but we really had to work for that money. And so another life event that happened to me was when I was 16. I got my driver's license, and I took the family car, and I went out to find work. Now, first, of course, I did it so that I could earn some extra money, but soon I just really connected with the idea of learning all of these new tasks and skills and helping to solve problems, and just being of service was such a privilege for me. So I went to school full-time, of course, but I also was a receptionist at an electric company. I worked at McDonald's for every hour that they would schedule me. I babysat anyone who would let me, and I even talked my middle school teachers into letting me type their tests for a little bit of money. And I absolutely loved doing this. So turning age 16 was a very positive thing for me, but it also helped shape my life. Now, I've also told you about how in my early 20s I started working for CEOs and boards of directors to help turn their vision into action. And then 20 years later, when I left the legal field so that I could make a positive impact. But the wonderful thing about this slide is that it shows you how your purpose is hiding just beneath the surface of your life. And it threads through these major events in your life to show you windows of opportunity. Now, another thing that happens to us along our career is that we start to we start to build skills, like little skills about how to work a telephone system or a copy machine, and then even skills that we develop an expertise in. But Julie Jansen, in her book called, I love this title, I Don't Know What I Want, But I Know It's Not This, suggests that we think about what our favorite skills are. So you may have an expertise in something, but it may not be your favorite skill. So what is it? Again, what is it that you use, that you are willing to use every single day, maybe even volunteer for because you love it so much? So from her list here, I have circled my top 10, that should be 10 favorite skills. And those are not them. They're circled around something different. Counseling others actually is one of my favorite skills. Developing and executing strategy, facilitating meetings, gathering knowledge, helping others, motivating people, solving problems, teaching, and team building are actually my favorite skills. So sorry for the technical issue there. But the idea is to think about not only the life events, the events in your life that have helped shape you, but also the skills that that you have gathered along the way that you really want to use. Now, I usually don't create a slide that is this worthy, but it's really important to lay all of this out in front of you, because when you do, it gives you the opportunity to really start to see patterns that are occurring in your life. So just look at the column that says as a child at the top. So the life event, that poor me, I had to go to Cut and Shoot, Texas, but that lead me to read classic American literature voraciously. Now, what favorite skill was I building even as a 6-year-old child? I was gathering knowledge. And if you start to tease out a little purpose theme for my 6-year-old self at the time, it would be to study human nature. In my teens, I said that I held many jobs at once. I also was gathering knowledge and helping others in solving problems. And my purpose theme in my teens would be to apply my knowledge to be of service. As an early adult, I was working for C-level executives to put their vision into action, gathering knowledge, helping others, solving problems, and executing strategy. My purpose theme was to serve executives by helping them achieve their vision. And today, I have my own company, as Janet mentioned. I'm the president of Center for Executive Excellence, and my team and I are able to help leaders connect the why to the what and the how. And of course, it's my company, so I'm going to use all of my top 10 favorite skills, right? But my purpose theme today is to help others find their path to service and fulfillment. And there's one other term on the slide that's important, and it comes from Marcus Buckingham's book, Now Discover Your Strengths. And he talks about this idea of yearnings. So he suggests that some things have a magnetic pull on you from the time you were a child, whether it's from your genes or from your life experiences. They exert a force on you that pull you back again and again, time after time throughout your life. And you feel that pull, and so you yearn. So this is a great way to look at the different life events that you've had that help shape you, layer in your favorite skills, think about what your purpose theme, and especially make sure that you know what your yearnings are, so that no matter what you do and how many skills you build along the way, that you do stay true to your yearnings.